Hey, how you doing? Welcome back to our channel. It is me. Steve is not here today.
Whatever. I gotta start it. Welcome back, everyone, to another Bloodline video. We have an interesting one for you today. You know, I didn't proof this PowerPoint before I went over it, so I hope there's no typos or spelling errors or anything.
like last time.
Yeah, like one of the last ones we did. Anyways, we got an interesting video for you today, but as always, before we get into it, I want to remind everyone to go ahead and subscribe. You'll see plenty of more videos like this and not like this. We do a lot of ripping, try to do a lot of informative card show pickup, stuff like that. Things we're just looking at in the hobby. So if you don't want to miss anything like that, be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. If you want to see more content like this video as well. Really helps us out a lot. Leave a comment down below. Always looking to improve the channel and how we could spread information and have more fun. So be sure to do all that. Please. So now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about what we're going to talk about right now on this Talking About channel. I was seeing if you processed. Oh, let me turn on this light.
Talking about channel?
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing. It's been a long day.
Okay.
Okay. Now that they can see us better now that the light's properly on.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about grading card companies to submit your cards to. I'm not sure if that's the right two grammatically, but oh well.
Typo. Boom.
Typo right there. All right, so who to send your cards to? We're going to talk about 5 of them with a couple honorable mentions.
Yep.
You have PSA, Beckett, SGA, HGA, CSG, and the whole alphabet gang going on here with the grading card companies. So let's jump into our first one. PSA, the king of grading cards. They don't do subgrades.
Nope.
And they have been shut down pretty much since February 2021.
Yeah.
And
it seems like they've been shut down for quite a long time. It seems like they've been catching up on a lot of submissions.
Yep.
So that's what they still are doing. So
yeah, and I've heard they've had like a 1 million card backlog or something like that, and they're grading like 40,000 cards a day now. That's how much they're expanding their how much it's graders. Yeah, they're just expanding like crazy, and they've had some tiers open, but they're like right now you can only get the Express and the Super Express. Super Express is like $300 a card. Express is like $150 a card, but you should get your cards in less than a week, I think, with either of these services.
Yeah. Which is only really worth it if you're submitting a card that you know it's gonna at least a couple $1,000, $1,000
card or more. Yeah, especially if it comes back a 9 or a 10.
Yeah.
And if it's coming back a 9, at least worth. Well, if at those prices, I would say you at least want to double the cost of that. So the card would have to be minimum $300 to $350 if you're going to use the Express service, which is a $150 card or per card service. So, but PSA, king of cards, they don't do subgrades. I think I mentioned that. You could see here on our screen kind of what a PSA card will look like. This is kind of standard across the board where they will have information kind of where the product came from, the player, or in this instance, the character. It's a Charizard Holo. Sometimes they'll have a third one if it's a different parallel. Now they do have a great population system where you could scan the barcode or put in this unique identifier, which will tell you the card. Make sure nothing fake or anything crazy like that. So this is what PSA looks like. No matter what it is, between 1 and 10, this is what you're going to see in a PSA slab.
Yep.
No changes. And that's, I think, maybe why a lot of people love it and consider them the king of grading cards, because it's the uniformity.
Yeah. It's a mix of that, and plus it's kind of like, they're like the gold standard of how prices are kind of set for the market on certain cards. So like whatever the PSA price or PSA graded card is usually that gold standard of like, this is what it's actually worth. Like, and people take that as like, since it's the best, since that's the best and most what are my words I'm looking for?
I don't know.
But basically, it's the gold standard.
It's what people want. You know, there's not going to be many services with grades that will sell more than a PSA 10. PSA 10 is usually the top tier, and the most you're going to get for your money in your cards. Now there is one exception with Beckett.
Beckett also has been up there. They both of them kind of set that that standard. So, and Beckett's growing up there more with PSA.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about them here in a second. Is there anything else? Like I said, I think PSA should be back in 2022. I saw something where they're even bulk grading wise, they'll probably get back down to the $20 a card again. Mm-hmm. So that'll be great. Who knows when that'll be? I imagine summer of 2022. I can't imagine it being before then. They still have so much to catch up on, and so much hiring and expanding and training to do in order to get there. But so if you want to grade your cards with PSA, it's going to cost you a pretty penny. Otherwise, you might want to recommend some of these other companies we'll mention after Beckett.
And overall, PSA slabs, very basic, simple, nothing fancy about it.
Yeah, just looking back at it, there's no subgrade. It's just, this is what it's going to get. They've changed the logos a couple of times, but it's not much different. Like their first from the 90s is not much different than this.
Yep.
So it's pretty much the same logo here and here. And they've been around almost 30 years.
Yep.
Or 30 years this year, because they opened in 91.
Oh, okay.
So next is Beckett. I've called them I just started calling them the queen of grading cards, probably the second best grading company. And that's actually thanks to a viewer who mentioned that in the comments, that he said, or she, I don't remember who it was, PSA is the king of cards, Beckett's the queen. I was like, yeah, okay, so these two are definitely the royalty of cards, and I don't disagree at all. The nice thing about Beckett is they can do subgrades or no subgrades. This one here has the subgrades, so you can see Beckett is almost uniform. It's a little different if you have autographs or if you don't have subgradings. This will just be the tin or the goldish looking color. I think I like Beckett a little more than I do PSA.
Same.
That's just slab and presentation wise. Now, like we mentioned, a 9.5 that you see on the screen is not going to be worth as much as a PSA 10. Mm-hmm. But if you can get a Beckett 10, whether it's I call them a soft 10, but that's just from me playing like gambling from playing craps. But if you get a 10, that's usually going to be more valuable than a PSA 10. And if you get I think it's a black label 10, where it's centering, edging, surface and corners are all 10. Yeah, pristine 10.
Yeah,
that is probably the creme de la creme, the best of the best that you can get when it comes to grading your card, and that will sell for the most hands down every time. Now, like PSA, they shut down.
Yep.
They limited how many cards they're taking in, and they only have one service. It's their premium service. Either you can get it subgraded or not subgraded. And the difference is crazy. It's $150 without subgrades, $250 with subgrades.
Wow.
So Beckett also shut down.
Yep.
So it's been tough trying to grade. I've been holding a lot of cards that I would have initially graded like 6 to 8 months ago, and I haven't been able to because Beckett and PSA have been shut down.
Yeah. Mainly because the cards that we want, we want those hopefully top dollar, and we feel like our cards could get that if they come back to the grade that we expect them to come. So
so it's been a little bit tough and a little bit frustrating with the two top grading companies being out of service for the most part.
Yeah, been tough, but I love the subgradings, and I love the labels of
Beckett a lot
more than PSA.
The only downside is Beckett, I know we don't have our hands on one right now, but Beckett is a thicker slab and a bigger slab than PSA's.
Gotcha.
So that's the only difference and the only downside about Beckett, but I think presentation-wise, it's a much better card.
Yep.
So now, these next three are going to kind of be the card companies you might want to submit to since we can't really submit to the king or the queen right now. And the next one's going to be SGA. That's probably the third SGC. Before the other two companies shut down, this was really kind of a distant third. And now that those PSA and Beckett shut down for a little bit, they've really taken over some of the market cap. Or is that what it is? Whatever. Yeah. My lingo is off. But they've definitely taken up some of PSA and Beckett's business, and they've grown a lot.
Yes.
And SGC, they're competitive price-wise. They don't do subgrades. And as you can see on the right, this is their presentation. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm neutral about it because, like, the card you have that we showed in a few videos back,
my
your Dak Prescott, it meshes really well.
Yeah, it meshes really well. And we call these slabs, me and Steve, does everyone call them? Or we just call them tuxedo. Kind of looks like.
Yeah. Yeah,
like
the
a tuxedo
slab.
slab.
It's the penguin of slabs.
Yeah.
it's always in a tuxedo and ready to party.
Yeah, but they've grown more. This grading company, like Steve said, grown very popular recently.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not the most flashy, but it does the trick, and kind of with certain cars it looks really sleek.
Yeah.
Um, Best part about this at the moment is you can submit to them at the moment, and their cards are $30 a card. I think everyone has raised up their prices a little bit since PSA and Beckett have gone out of they're not doing economy kind of prices, so
Yeah.
everyone has kind of raised them up, and especially because they don't want a big influx of cards coming into.
Yeah, and that was the big problem was with everything was like $10 a card at the bottom package, and everyone was just sending in everything.
Yeah,
base cards that probably didn't need to be graded. Bowman rookie cards where they're a dime a dozen were being sent off and graded that didn't really need to be graded, which kind of caused this whole problem to begin with.
Yeah,
but it is what it is. But SGA is a good company. We're actually getting ready to submit. SGC is a good company. I keep doing that. SGC is a good alternative to submit to. We're actually about to run a submission through them.
Yep.
That we will do a reveal for whenever we get them back. So look forward to that. They only offer one service. So no matter what, the bottom dollar, the way SGC got it this time, structures their pricing is based off a declared card value. So if it's under like $1,000, it's $30 a card. And as the declared value goes up, the price continues to go up. So it starts at 30 and works its way up to, I think, 1,000 or 2,000 or something like that, just depending on the declared value.
So SGC probably ranked third in card companies at the moment, but now we're about to get into some other ones.
Some nice alternatives. Next on the list is HGA. And Ryan, I know you really like this one. Do you want to tell us a little bit about why?
I love HGA. HGA has created slabs that are very custom to their cards. So they make slabs and they match them into the aspect of whatever the card looks like, how the design of the card is. And so as you can see with the Kobe, it has kind of that
and it's really in the labeling too.
Yeah, it's all in the labeling, that little Laker splash. But I've seen other HGA slabs that people have submitted really like bad cards, and HGA has sat there.
Oh, I love that.
And
I know what you're talking about.
They custom it to where everything was like the card was all shifted off to the left or to the right. It was really bad graded card, but HGA was like, okay, and then they matched the slab exactly how the card was. Everything was shifted off, so none of the corners or the numbers it matched. And so it was funny.
Yeah, it was so funny when I saw that card. I think it came up on Instagram where someone submitted that.
Yeah.
It was rated like a 3, and then the whole labeling was off too to kind of match how poor the card was. I was like, this is great. Yeah. I was like, that's awesome, because PSA, Beckett, no one else would do that. No one would do that.
And see, this is why I love these new grading companies that have come in, because they add these new personality of like slabs. They're making the slabs like cooler and better than how just like a plain basic one is. Even though the PSA slabs and Beckett slabs are nice, but I love the matching of the card, of the label to the card. It gives it another just boost of personality. To me, it just makes it look so much nicer and pops.
Yeah, and I think in my opinion, if you're going to keep a card in your PC, these are, I mean, everyone's different, but I feel like for me, this is the route to go. I like the customization. I like the difference. There's nothing wrong with uniformity, especially in investment cards. So submitting to Beckett, PSA, SGC, not doing that again, but submitting to those as investment cards is a good option because it keeps a collection uniform. But if you want a PC collection, you can go with HGA.
Yep.
And they'll look good.
Yep, and they do. And right now they're probably their best value at the moment is $25 for.
That's what they call it too. I think it's their best value tier. Those are actually the name of the tiers.
Best value,
at least on their site.
Which is at the moment for grading companies. At the moment this is the lowest, and so it's not. They're really reasonably priced, and to me, like with a couple of these grading companies having slabs like this, I think they're going to end up changing kind of how slabs are going to look, and they're definitely going to grow in popular as time goes on. And even though people don't necessarily hold them to the standards of like prices, because people or really fitting could be about trusting new grading companies. But I think you give it time and people will come around and everything is going to start coming more competitive with as more of these grading companies, especially these certain grading companies, as we're going to show you, begin to rise in popularity.
Yeah, and it's like an HGA 10 is not going to sell nowhere near as much as a PSA 10 or even a Beckett 9.5, but maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 years it could.
Yeah,
it could close the gap. I don't think it'll ever overtake it.
No,
but it's definitely gained some market share with PSA and Beckett. That was the word I was looking for with SGC market share. But yeah, it definitely it's a nice grading company. Have yet to submit with them, but do plan on it in the future.
Yeah. Definitely plan on it.
At least with a lot of these companies that kind of see just the process. So you can move on to what is that, SGC? CSG.
CSG.
So CSG, I know Ryan's not familiar with. I see him popping up more and more at card shows. They've grown a little bit. Now CSG is kind of a subsidiary of the company who grades comic books.
Okay.
So that the comic book grading company has been along for a long time. So they kind of have the resources to expand, and that's what they did into the sports card market with this company. So you could get cards with subgrades like you see over here on the right, which it's not bad.
No,
and then you could get them with no subgrades, which it just looks empty. The label looks really empty without the subgrades. And one of the downsides about this is it's a bland label. I don't really care for it. Maybe it's the green, maybe it's just the layout of it, but I'm not really a fan of the label.
Yeah. It's kind of it looks bland from
I think maybe they need like a dark
color scheme isn't.
Yeah, it's just not attractive. And I mean, I think they're a really good alternative, but I think I would rather go with other companies. But one of the reasons I added them to the list is because of where they came from, being part of that comic book creating company and then kind of expanding into the sports. They have the resources where the turnaround times are not that bad. I think economy is only like 2 months.
Oh, that's not bad.
So that's not bad. No, not bad at all. So I think that's why I added it to the list, because you can get them churned around quicker.
No.
Regardless of the bland labels, I hope eventually they kind of revamp their labels to make something a little better. A little tired there, huh? Yeah, nodding. Yeah. But they also do have standard and express, and they also have I think a super express, which is like $120 a card. Those are, you can't see my hand, but these are the non-subgrade prices. Each to have subgrades added will be an additional $10 a card, which for me that's what I would do. So it'd be $30 a card versus $20.
Yeah.
So I guess when you said HGA was the cheapest, not necessarily true, but I'd rather have the subgrades.
Yeah.
I'd much rather have the subgrades. So that would be $10 a card additional. So, but I think this is a good alternative. Now, that's if you can get past the blandness of the label.
Yeah.
So those are our 5 companies we wanted to talk to a little bit. We have 2 honorable mentions we'll go ahead and get to if Ryan wants to. One of them you have seen before on this channel. It's RCG.
Yep. RCG.
I do like that slab, especially as a PC. As a PC slabbing choice, they come out really nice. The label is customizable, even the border around the slab, as you can see my cursor. This is all customizable, where they add green, or like in the Joe Burrow card, where in our reveal video,
like the
it was all Bengal or tiger print around the border, and it looks really nice.
Yeah.
Imagine, as I mentioned in that video, getting a select tiger print card and submitting it here where it's all just Bengal print. That would look so sick.
Yeah.
Especially if it's one you're going to keep in this PC.
Yeah. RCG, just exactly like HGA.
Yeah. A little more customizable though.
Yeah. But love it. Love the personality with the slabs.
Yeah.
That to me goes big. So definitely plan on submitting to RCG as well as HGA.
Yeah, they're really nice. $30 a card right now. It was about a 3-month turnaround from the time they received the package to the time I received the package after it was slabbed. So that's not too bad. And then the next one is CGC, as I went too far. CGC is another one of those companies that came from the comic book realm. They had the resource to expand, and I think they're a good alternative if you want to submit non-sports cards too. So Pokemon, I almost said Digimon, but I don't think that's really a thing anymore.
Pokemon,
Yu-Gi-Oh, Magic the Gathering,
Magic, and then
MetaZoo, which just came out.
Yeah,
I'm sure we have boxes. I'm sure we'll open them at some point in time. But they're a good alternative. Also, I think they're like $30 or $35 a card. I didn't list the prices in our honorable mentions, but always, as I would say, do your research. Figure out what company you would want to go with, which slabs you like the best. If you can go to a card show and see them in person, I think that's much more valuable than kind of looking at pictures online. You can get an idea from online, but actually holding them is a different color, a horse of a different color. So that's what I would say. I mean, I get it. Not every company is going to be with or not be for everyone. People aren't going to like the customizable HGA or the RCG slabs, or they're not going to like the PSA slabs. Everyone's got their own opinion.
Yep.
So
everyone has their own opinion, and so.
What's your favorite out of here?
My favorite.
I'll run through them real quickly again.
Probably HGA.
You really like that HGA?
I like the HGA. It's either HGA or Beckett. Both of those two are probably my two favorites. That's why I'm sticking my guns with.
Yeah, I think as an investment, Beckett will be the company I would like to grade with the most. Mm-hmm. Although I probably will throw some in PSA, just knowing that they have the most value, unless you get a Beckett 10. And I like HGA, and after submitting with RCG, I think they're tied, even though HGA I think has a greater market share and a little more value than RCG, as RCG is still growing and relatively small.
Yeah,
but they'll get there. All right, everybody, let us know down in the comments what you think of these grading companies. Are there any you missed that you would recommend us checking out? And who would you grade to in the future? So let us know down in the comments. And I think that's going to do it, right?
Yep, that's going to be it.
Till next time, we'll catch you later.